Good morning, good Monday morning, and welcome to this January the 9th, not the 29th, January the 9th, weekly overall energy readings. Welcome back to those of you who have been here before, and welcome to new viewers. I'm so happy that you are able to join me this week. Couple of announcements. Time is running out. I am still running my annual special. It is a 13-card reading. It is live, one-on-one with me, and it is your personal outlook for each month in 2023. I only run this special once a year. It's my most popular special every year. And like I said, there's only 1 week left to be able to get in on this deal because obviously we're already into the month of January. So yeah, this is a live reading with me. It takes between an hour and 15 and an hour and a half to get through all 13 cards. And you are more than welcome to be able to interrupt me, ask personal questions. I'm not only reading cards when I do this, I am also tapping into your energy personally and giving you psychic and intuitive insights into what the year ahead holds for you. So I will put a link down in the description if you are interested in booking that. Like I said, it is limited time and it's only available for another week. Moving right along. For those of you who have been here before, you know how this works. So check the timestamps and you can jump ahead a little bit. For those of you who are new, the way that I work for my weekly readings is I ask you to go into a light meditative state. I will guide you into that. And then I present 3 rocks, gems, or little trinkets. And I ask you to intuitively decide which one you are drawn towards. Whichever one you are drawn towards is the deck that I will pull your cards from for this week and give you information about the dominant energy that is influencing you this week, as well as a shadow energy, something that is just bubbling a little bit below the surface, something that you might not be aware of, but you should be paying attention to. Here comes the disclaimers. I am not a doctor. I am not a lawyer. I am not a certified financial advisor. So anything that you say, that you hear in this video that may be construed as specific intentional advice, take it with more than a few grains of salt. You have free will. Please make your choices wisely. Okay. So without any further ado, take a couple of deep breaths. Allow your eyes to close gently. No need to squeeze them shut. Just allow your eyelids to feel heavy and allow them to close. And take a couple more deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. And on each exhale, allow yourself to relax. And one last time, inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And I'm going to present 3 stones. The first one is a little piece of garnet, a little piece of polished garnet. So allow yourself to decide if you are intuitively drawn towards the piece of polished garnet. The second stone this week is a carnelian ball. So if you are drawn towards the Carnelian, you will have your cards pulled from deck number 2 this week. And last but not least, we have a Selenite ball. So if you are drawn towards the Selenite ball, I will be pulling your cards from deck number 3 this week. Okay, so make your choice between this lovely piece of polished garnet. And I am using garnet specifically because this is the birthstone for the month of January. So in honor of all of you late Capricorns and early Aquarians, we are using the garnet. And again, the Carnelian ball or the Selenite. Please make your choices and let's move forward. Okay, I do have to make sure that these balls do not roll off the table. That would be tragic. Okay, for those of you who selected January's birthstone, the polished garnet, I will be pulling cards for you this week from the Angels and Ancestors deck. And let's get started. We need a card. Oh, okay. We have a card. It jumped right out. So the dominant energy for those of you that selected this piece of garnet this week, the dominant energy for you this week is winter. Take care of your needs. For those of you who are in the northern hemisphere, obviously it's winter right now, January. Typically one of the coldest months out of the year. So it stands to reason that we need to take care of our needs right now. But this isn't just taking care of our health, although when this card comes up, it does indicate that there is a necessity to take care of your health, to dig a little bit deeper, dive a little bit deeper. Also, I want to point out that getting a card about taking care of our needs near the beginning of January is actually not unexpected either, because one of the themes of this time of the year is obviously New Year's resolutions. I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper here to New Year's resolutions and to cycles, okay? One of the reasons that the majority of New Year's resolutions fail is because January 1st is the absolute worst time of the year to try and start something new. It doesn't make sense to try and start something new halfway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. You're not in tune and in cycle with Earth and her cycles. Okay. Same if you're in the southern hemisphere. Honestly, it does not make sense to try and start something new between what would be your summer solstice and your fall equinox. Not a good time of the year. Okay. We want to try and start things so that we are in tune with Mother Earth and her cycles. And again, it depends on whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. And also in tune with the cycles of the moon. Okay. So it's interesting that you get this card right now, because while it is commendable to want to start something new in and around January 1st, while it's commendable to want to lose weight, get into better physical condition, to sleep more, to, I don't know, do a social media detox, whatever the case may be. Well, it's commendable to do it. If you are struggling with that, forgive yourself, because not being gentle with yourself is also not taking care of your needs. Okay. One of the one of the big things that you can do at this time of the year, if you choose to do New Year's resolutions, a better choice right now is to plant the seed that you want to make these changes and begin small. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to drop those 10 pounds in the month of January. You can start small by introducing something healthy into your life, by going for 1 walk a week instead of 7 walks a week. Okay, and begin to ramp up so that you're in cycle with spring. When springtime comes, that's when there is a whole lot of renewal that happens for us. So you can be mentally, emotionally, psychologically preparing yourself for whatever your New Year's resolution is, so that the implementation actually happens closer to the spring equinox. And that puts you more in alignment with the natural cycles that our ancestors were involved in. Okay, that's part of taking care of your needs, recognizing the cycles. Okay, if you are feeling really kind of quiet right now and feeling like you want to hibernate a little bit, that's not unexpected, especially for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere right now. It's winter. Honor that. Okay, that's what's coming up for you this week, taking care of your needs. If you are feeling a little bit more tired than you normally would be, honor that and take care of that need within yourself. Okay, the other thing that I do want to point out is that on this card, we have the wolf. The wolf is a pack animal. And although a lone wolf can survive for some time, in the wild, it doesn't actually have a long life expectancy the same way that a wolf in a pack does. This is a call towards community in the winter. Okay? Pay attention to that. Honor that. If you are feeling lonely at this time, which is not unexpected, and a lot of us spend a lot more time inside our homes, cozied away, sitting in front of our nice warm fireplaces or our heaters, it's not unexpected. Honor those emotions, acknowledge those emotions. That is part of, like, don't just bury them under a gallon of ice cream. Okay? Don't do that. Honor those emotions, recognize and acknowledge them, and then take action. Seek out your pack. Even if that means going into the mall or going into a Tim Hortons, going into a shop and sitting down and having a coffee, even if you're doing it on your own, there is nothing wrong with that. Pay attention to what's going on around you. People watch. You know what? You might hear an interesting conversation at the next table. A lot of people actually welcome somebody turning to them and saying, "Oh, I couldn't help but overhear something you were saying. Mind if I join you? I'd like to hear a little bit more about that." You'd be amazed how many people actually enjoy that kind of interaction. Okay. I'm not saying that that's going to happen for all of you. Obviously, I do these readings for, hundreds of people, but honor what you're being told this week. Take care of your needs. Okay. Let's have a look at your shadow energy. Okay. Your shadow energy this week is the White Witch, be the light. Okay. Being that this is in the shadow, it's an indication that you have not been taking care of your needs. You're not living in your light and your power right now. It's kind of faded, dark and gray. And that's kind of what I pick up with this card as well. That if you're not taking care of your needs, you're feeling more tired than usual, you're not honoring that, you're staying up too late. Okay? Take care of this and your light and energy will return. All right. So let's move into those of you who selected the Carnelian ball this week. Okay, I'm going to set that down. Is it going to roll away? Don't roll away. Okay, I'm just going to move this off to the side because I do not want it rolling off here. All of the floors in my house are solid and it will crack or shatter. Okay, for those who selected the Carnelian ball, let's have their dominant energy influencing them this week. Oh, here we go again with this deck. This deck, the last few times I've used it, it takes forever to get a card out. Oh, and then it throws out more than one card. All right. We actually have two cards for you this week. For those of you who selected this little gem this week, we have two cards for you this week. We have the Faraway Places card. Get ready for new horizons. And we have the Taking Shelter card. The answers are within. It's interesting that you've got this. Oh, gee. And you do have a third card here. Voyage of the Heart. Love flows through you and to you. Okay. Lucky you guys. 3 cards. You're supposed to get 1. And just for those of you who are curious, this is from the Denise Lynn Sacred Traveler deck. I forgot to do that. Okay. Faraway Places is generally an indication that something new and exciting is starting for you. It can indicate travel, but not always. What am I picking up for you guys? I'm sensing that for some of you, there may be sort of thoughts of travel, the idea of travel, possibly even booking something this week, you know, taking that leap of faith and actually booking something. For some of you, that could be a winter vacation, summer vacation if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Summer vacation if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. But actually, I mean, that's for some of you, but for most of you, what I'm picking up is that there is something new coming in for you. However, you need to pay attention to this card along with this one. This is indicating that there is something new coming on the horizon for you, but it is going to require a decision, and you're going to need to go within yourself in order to make that decision. I'm sensing that there's going to be, like, because I'm picking up a duality with this card, that some of you are looking to book a vacation. I'm thinking maybe some of you are going to book something big. Others are just going to go for a weekend. But like there's a duality, like a back and forth that I'm feeling with this card, which is an indication that there is a decision that's going to have to be made ultimately for you. And this card is indicating that you do have the answers within you, but the only way that you're going to get the answers this week is to take time alone, take that shelter, perhaps go deep within a meditation. I always like to tell people meditation is not about sitting in the lotus position and saying, Om. Okay. Meditation can involve going out for a walk in the snow, can involve hugging a tree, can involve just laying down and watching the clouds go by with your eyes wide open. All of these are forms of meditation. Going for a drive for some of you, okay? Well, posing the question, which way do I go? Because I am sensing that there is a decision that's going to need to be made. For some of you, that decision involves travel. And for some of you, that decision involves work or career. I'm not sensing that this is relationship or family oriented, this decision that's going to come up for you this week. I am definitely sensing it's either involving travel for some of you or a decision regarding your career. Okay. And the best way to find the answers is right here. The Voyage of the Heart card came out as well for you this week. Love flows through you and to you. And what this card is saying is that no matter what decision you make through here, you are surrounded and protected. There is a love that's there. And being that this is the Voyage of the Heart card, as you're making your decision this week, tap into your heart. Tap into your heart center. Okay. A lot of us tap into our stomachs, right? Butterflies in the stomach when we need to make a decision. And this card, what it's telling me is that as you make the decision this week, tap into the heart center. What is your heart telling you to do? Okay, let's have a look and see what your shadow energy is this week. Those of you that selected the Carnelian ball, Gates of Triumph. Success expands in your life. Okay, now this has come up as your shadow card this week. With this card being in the shadow, it means it's telling me that the success of whatever you are making a decision towards is not actually going to come about this week. It's not saying that it's not going to happen because it's in a shadow position, so it's red opposite. It's not saying that it's not going to happen, but it's saying that it's not going to happen this week. So you'll notice on the card that someone is in a kind of dark forest. Oftentimes, this indicates that they are making a decision, okay? They have the opportunity to walk through these gates and out into this beautiful sunshine that is out there and walk this beautiful path. What I'm picking up is this being your shadow card this week is that you're not quite ready to walk through that gate yet. This is not saying that success is not within your grasp. It absolutely is. It's just, it's not happening yet. Okay. You're not ready to walk through that gate just yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is talking about divine timing for you. Okay. Let's move on. I'm going to move that out of the way. Okay, let's move on. Those of you who selected the Selenite ball, I have a surprise for you guys. I have a brand new deck of cards. I finally bit the bullet and bought the Fairy Tarot cards by Radley Valentine. I know that this deck has been around for some time. It's gone through some changes and some revamps, but I finally broke down and bought one for myself. It arrived at my house yesterday. I am still getting used to this deck. Full disclosure, like I said, I just got it yesterday, so it is relatively new to me, but I did use this deck yesterday for almost 3 hours doing readings for myself. So it is well infused, but there are still a few surprises coming out in this deck. So let's see what this deck has in store for those of you who selected the Selenite ball this week. This was my Christmas present to myself, and it just arrived yesterday. So, and it's significantly larger than most of my decks. I'm struggling with trying to get it to shuffle. All right. What does this deck want to tell those who selected the Selenite ball? There we go. We've got at least one card that's come out. Is there another card? No. Right. Awakening. Change the way you are looking at a situation, embrace your uniqueness, and a temporary pause in action. This card, those of you that selected the Selenite ball, got the card that corresponds to the Hanged Man in the traditional tarot. In the traditional tarot, a lot of people look at the Hanged Man card and they have a little tiny freak out. The same as the Death card, the Tower card, the Devil card, any of those cards, when they come out, people go, ah! There is no need for that. Okay. This card is a representation of seeing things from a different perspective. Okay. Right. It's less about a hanged man, i.e., someone hanging from their neck, and more about, remember when we were children, like if you look at a traditional tarot deck, you don't see a hanged man, like you don't see the noose, which is what some people associate with the hanged man. Okay. What you do see is a person hanging upside down. And this is like when we were children. You remember when we were children and we used to go to the playground and we'd climb up on the monkey bars and we would wrap our legs around the monkey bars and then flip ourselves upside down. And we'd look at all of our friends who were now upside down, and it was fun, and the blood would rush to our heads, and then we'd flip ourselves up and we'd feel all dizzy, but we'd also be really happy. That's what this card is about, is remembering that childlike ability to be able to see things from a different perspective, right? A lot of the times we get something into our heads and we're only able to see the perspective from one direction. And we know from, let's say, driving, okay? For those of you who have ever driven in the mountains, this is really neat. I mean, if you drive out in the prairies, out in the flatlands, okay, it doesn't matter which direction you drive, everything looks almost the same. But if you drive in the mountains and you drive across a mountain pass going one way, when you get in your car and you drive the opposite direction, you're going to go, wait, am I on the same road? Because everything looks so different. Life is the same way. If we're going through life with blinders on, the same way that we do with horses so that they don't get shocked or surprised, then we don't have the opportunity for shocks or surprises in our life either. Okay, some people go, I don't like shocks or surprises. Fair enough. Leave your blinders on. But what this card is telling you this week is to see things from a different perspective. If you don't like shocks or surprises, maybe don't take the blinders all the way off, but maybe just bring them down a little bit and have a little peek. See things from someone else's perspective. It's 2023. I'm going to go there. It's 2023. There has been a very divisive conversation that has happened in many families, in many friendships. There has been a breakdown in communication based on this divisive situation. I think most of you know what I'm referring to. Here's the thing. We can disagree with someone else's choice. This card is even telling us that we can see it from the other person's perspective. We don't have to agree with their choice. we can see why they made that decision. Maybe something about them was being threatened. Maybe their income was being threatened. And so they made a choice to go one way. Maybe someone else made the choice to go a different way. We can see the reasons why, even though we didn't make the same choice. That's what this card is telling you to do. It's the same thing when it comes to, you know, I'm actually tapping into somebody's specific energy right now, which isn't right because I'm doing a group reading, but the decisions that other people make may not sit well with us, but we can try to see things from their perspective and recognize why they made that choice. This card also has the writing on it that says a temporary pause in action. In order to be able to see things from someone else's perspective, like I said, you don't have to agree with it, but in order to be able to see things from someone else's perspective, you do have to step away from the situation. So this week, those of you that received this card, the Awakening, seeing things from a different perspective, the Hangman card, give yourself the opportunity to step back from a situation, to see it from somebody else's perspective. You do not need to force your perspective on them. They do not need to force their perspective on you, so long as you can see the way that the other person sees it. Let's have a look at your shadow energy, the 5 of Summer, which is the equivalent to the 5 of Cups. Trust that there's a reason for everything that happens. Remove yourself from the negative emotions of others, focusing on that which frightens or worries you. Okay. This is the equivalent to the 5 of Cups in the traditional tarot. This card coming up in your shadow position is actually almost the complete opposite. It's actually almost the same meaning as this card, right? Trust that there is a reason for everything that happens and remove yourself from the negative emotions of others. What these two cards together is telling me with this one in the shadow position is that you've allowed yourself to get caught up in a lose-lose situation or a lose-lose discussion this week. Okay? Remove yourself from the negative emotions of others. Like I said, a temporary pause in the action is what's represented on this card. Step away from the situation. And then this card comes up and lets me know that in your shadow, there's an opportunity this week for you not to walk away. Like I said, the shadow card shows us what we may not be aware of, but we need to be aware of. And what you need to be aware of this week is that if you are in a lose-lose conversation with someone, even though you may have the capacity to see things from their perspective, whether you agree with their choice or not, the other person may not be seeing things from your perspective, in which case the conversation is going to go nowhere. So step away. That doesn't mean walk away in a big huff or anything else. It just means step away until things settle down. Okay? I hope that that resonated with you. It was a little convoluted. Like I said, this is a new deck. I'm still getting used to it. I'm getting used to You know, some of what's written on the bottom is a little bit different from what I'm used to in other tarot decks. But anyway, there you go. For those of you that had the selenite ball this week, you may be facing a situation later this week where you're just going to have to say, I need to take a few steps back. All right. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Have a beautiful week. I will see you next Monday. Watch this space because I do have some more new decks coming. I bought myself Christmas presents this year, so I might decide to pop in and do a few more readings. Take care, everyone.